Some of these kids have never been out of the city. They've never experienced bush, let alone jungle. They've never been in a tent. It's just so far out of their comfort zone. So I guess I slowly expand that.
Day 3, and out of Isarava is a series of steep and slippery hills where going up is exhausting and coming down even worse.
That was a 3.
Okay, this is the wartime village of Eora Creeks. This was where the wounded were staged. There's photos here taken through the war, and it was just a scene of utter confusion. And one thing that was very common throughout the withdrawal was people refused help. It was always, a very common one was, nah, I don't need to be carried, look after them, they're worse. So there were some people with horrific wounds that walked, people with shot-up arms combining with someone with a shot-up leg. And together they provided the propulsion to get up and down this terrain.
And it's not long before the trekkers have to cope with another casualty of their own.
Dislocated my knee. Yes. I was walking across the bridge and my boots were wet, and these aren't real good for rocks and stuff. I just moved the wrong way and it just popped out. And luckily I pulled my knee back in the right way when I got back up, and it popped itself back in and whatnot.
Yes.
Straight across there. Nice and swollen. Very sore.
The boys are going to bring the stretcher down in a moment.
Which makes Brady an ideal volunteer for John's next demonstration.
The most critical part of carrying a stretcher is the lift.
It's an exercise in how wounded soldiers were evacuated down the track.
You're laying there, I know this is going to be hard for you. You've got to shut up. Righto. Okay, Ali, there's your casualty. Organise your people. Let's get ready to go.
I need 2 people on either end and 2 people on the back side.
For Ali, who's been content to stay somewhat in the background so far, it's a chance to pull his head up and make an impression.
So whoever's same height, I want them next to each other, please. You at the back, two at the front. Used to at the back, and hold on. Tim, you and
Adam.
Who's
Adam?
Wait, who did I say?
Tim and Adam still same size.
Yeah, Tim and Adam on the, what did I say? The front. Yeah. Let's go.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. My back's too big.
The track touches them, and you see a lot of them come here with, there's really only I in their life, and that's it. As the track affects them, they start to look sideways. They start to help other trekkers, people they're with. A bit of the selfishness starts to disappear, because I sort of work on the philosophy that they'll forget what I said, they'll forget what I did, but they'll probably never forget how I made them feel.
I should have one leg on that sword. Yep.
Back in 1942, the diggers absolutely relied on native stretcher bearers, the Fuzzy Wuzzy Angels. In impossible conditions and at great personal risk, they saved hundreds of injured soldiers. John hopes that the example of those wartime angels will rub off on the trekkers.
What's the right? Guys on the right. What's the guys on the right?
Guys on the left.
Thanks, Petey.
In doing the stretcher carry, brings them together and starts to promote the teamwork side of it. And what I've done now is turn them loose and said basically go for home. So now I'm watching to see who's helping. And some of the faster ones I see have stopped to go with Brady, which is good. Some of the others are, they're not really caring what's behind them and they're really just going for home.
Okay. Yeah. Come right for it, that.
But unfortunately for Brady, what was a simple demonstration just this morning is now only too real. The tough terrain has finally felled him. The descendants of those wartime angels must carry him out. Brady's trek is over, and John has a few hard lessons for everyone else.
Righto, an interesting day. Now, since lunchtime, I've seen some real true Kokoda spirit, and I've seen some bloody selfish behaviour where people are locked on themselves and not even looking sideways. Now, I'm not going to specify anyone, but as a group, get your act together. Look sideways. It's not just about you. Some of you are on one course on that last stretch, was to get here as fast as you could. And there wasn't a bloody consideration for a few others. I saw one person virtually knock someone off the track passing them, and not even a word, because they were in a hurry.
Every corner you take, you think, yeah, we're getting there. But it just keeps going and going and going. And then I've hit stages where I just want to get there and I didn't worry about anyone else, and I know that was wrong.
Some of you displayed real, true Kokoda spirit. Let's get it right through the group. Come on, guys, you've got the potential. You're there. I'd like to introduce you to a very, very special man, a Virundiki. This man was a carrier for the Australian troops during the Second World War here in Papua New Guinea. And this man was wounded during the war. The shots fired, he lost fingers. He spotted a Japanese ambush and he saved the lives of Australians by diving off the track. So he's a very, very special man. Many a mother in Australia, when the busy day is done, sends a prayer to the Almighty for the keeping of her son, asking that an angel guide him and safely bring him back. Now we see those prayers are answered on the Owen Stanley track. Slow and careful in bad places, on that awful mountain track, and the look upon their faces makes us think that Christ was black. He does this to me all the time. This is a very, very special man, and for each of you, this is a very, very special moment.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing him out. I'll mention one more thing. If you look at these medals on Avura's chest, there's not one from the Australian government. They're all been donated by trekkers. There's police medals of policemen that I've brought over. One policeman from Western Australia actually gave his bravery medal for me to bring back for this man. There's not one medal there from the Australian government.
The way the carriers, I think, feel is that the Australian government, not the Australian people, there's nothing wrong with the Australian people, but the Australian government have been short on a lot of things, mainly just recognising. Recognising does a lot. Like, it can change a whole country, just if you recognise them.